Why am I holding AIOZ? Now, even though nothing I say is financial advice, and even though I'm not telling anyone to do anything, I don't necessarily have to hold AIOZ, right? I mean, it's just a personal decision I made. But why did I do that nonetheless? Well, my point of view is that, first of all, I do like the fundamentals of AIOZ, and actually, with the pullback that I've seen ever since December of 2024, I am not necessarily disappointed with that in the grand scheme of things because my intention is the dollar cost average once a month. I don't do any less. I don't do hypothetically anymore either. All I do is just dollar cost average once a month. Now, people may be thinking, okay, but again, why? I am not telling anyone to do anything, but personally, in my perspective, the way to take a look at it is that when it comes to, let's say again, back in December of 2024, the market cap was what, around 1.3 billion. As of right now, we're what, around 157 million, around that range, right? Slightly under, below 160 million, but whatever the case may be. We're around currently, when it comes to AIOZ, right? 8 times lower than just back where it once was less than a year ago. Again, around 8 times lower than that, which may seem a little bit counterintuitive again, but my perspective is this. Bitcoin is not around 8 times lower than 300 grand. It's slightly more than 3 times lower, but it's not over 4 times lower, over 5 times lower. No, it's not. Also, if I take a look at Ethereum, it's not over 5 times lower than 10 grand currently, you know, let alone around 8 times lower. Now, what does that mean? I mean, I just think it means that when it comes to AIOZ, it is around 8 times lower than where it once was back in December, but then Bitcoin is not around 8 times lower than where it once was back in December. That's just my point of view. But, it is what it is. That's just the way to take a look at it. Now, that is arguably one of the hypothetical reasons why I just haven't given up when it comes to AIOZ. However, also on top of that, I mean, if I take a look at $5, right? I mean, AIOZ is around 38 times lower than that. But the thing is, actually, back in December 2024, the price exceeded over $1, right? And we hadn't seen that in quite a while when it comes to AIOZ, because even back in 2021, it was like around 90 cents at that point, right? But the thing is, my point of view is that when it comes to something like this, like at that point, it was around 5 times lower than $5. And that was not even during an altcoin season in my perspective. That's just the way you take a look at it. Not to mention, I like AIOZ because it has many aspects to it, right? For instance, it's focused on AI, it's focused on streaming, it's also focused on something like storage. And I find this pretty cool because, of course, we already kind of know about AI and all this type of stuff, but sometimes people don't really care about like streaming or like, let's say, storage in a sense where projects that are kind of focused on that within the space, sometimes people don't really kind of care about that. But at the same time, I do care about it because, for instance, if I take a look at, according to Grandview Research, the video streaming market size by 2030, they expect it to be hypothetically worth over 400 billion. In which case, I mean, could it do that? Who knows? I'd have to be at 2030 to know that, but I just wanted to mention that nonetheless. I also take a look at, for instance, when it comes to something like the data storage market size, or should I say the global data storage market size, according to Fortune Business Insights, they expect it to be worth hypothetically nearly 800 billion by 2030. Again, we're not in 2030, not even 2026, even though hypothetically it's kind of close, but I'm saying I'd have to wait until then. But at least I think it kind of showcases a little bit the trajectory in which some of the markets could hypothetically be heading, in which AIOZ is focused on, but who knows, only time will tell. Now, we've seen historical kind of partnerships when it comes to AIOZ, like for instance, in the case of NVIDIA, we take a look at Qualcomm. So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of impressive considering how AIOZ is not necessarily the biggest project out there. And the thing is, actually, with this significant pullback when it comes to AIOZ, it still has, around 54,000 holders, which, if someone told me, like, you know what, AIOZ is going to have 30,000, 40,000, yeah, that wouldn't surprise me, but still, holding at around 54,000, kind of impressive considering how the sentiment isn't the best when it comes to this project currently, and also considering how, when it comes to altcoins, it hasn't necessarily done the best either. That's just my point of view. Now, granted, I mean, the way I view it is that when it comes to whether or not there's going to be an altcoin season, I cannot control that. The only thing I can control is literally myself, which is what I'm going to do. Because personally, for me, I could just take a look at price charts all day and all this type of stuff, but it's not really going to do anything, I think, personally, in my case, because, like, if I just draw on a price chart all day, do you think the market's randomly going to listen to me? Absolutely not. That's just my point of view. But there's only one thing I can do, right? Which is control myself, which is why I'm still holding, I'm still dollar cost averaging, and that's pretty much about it. Now, sometimes you like to tell me, oh, isn't it kind of easier to just not care about this type of stuff? Well, personally, in my case, because I can't speak on anyone's behalf, like, sure, I don't have to believe in AIOZ or let alone just any project within this space. I could just easily not care about it anymore. But the reason why I still care about it is because, again, I just don't think I've seen an altcoin season during this cycle. And I still like the projects that I'm holding in terms of the fundamentals. Now, granted, some people might be thinking, why am I caring about AIOZ, but then I'm not only just holding that? Well, let me explain why I never only hold just one project, no matter whether or not I'm a fan of it, like in a way where I really like it, right? The reason why I never only hold one project is this. For instance, I was a fan of a project called Cadena, but the key word right there is was a fan, right? Now, why is that? Well, it's because Cadena not too long ago, or should I say the Cadena organization, they announced that they're going to be stopping operations, quite essentially, due to the market conditions. Like, what? You know what I mean? When I saw that, I was very disappointed. So imagine if I only held Cadena. Now, of course, naturally, because that kind of announcement came out when it comes to Cadena, the price had a pullback. Then, not too long ago, of course, the altcoin space wasn't doing the best. And even as of right now, even seeing some altcoins out there slightly recover, but still, Cadena even had a pullback on top of that, right? So then the thing is, imagine if I only held that. Was I a fan of Cadena as a layer 1 blockchain? Yes, I was. Was I a fan of the programming language when it comes to what is used on Cadena smart contracts, basically? Not the number one fan, but even besides all that, despite that, I could not control the project in any way. So then, when that happened, I was very disappointed. So yeah, I just never want to hold only one project, no matter how much I'm a fan, because I never will know what's going to happen. So if I never know what's going to happen, why would I only believe in just one project? That's the way to take a look at it. But again, it is what it is. Those are just basically the reasons why I'm still holding AIOZ as one of the projects, not the only project, but one of the projects, because I never will know what could happen. So this is why I'm still staying patient and just holding and just waiting. If, let's say, maybe there is a hypothetical altcoin season, but who knows, only time will tell. But I just wanted to make this video real quick to just talk about my perspective and just give an update on personally what I'm thinking about when it comes to this as a project. However, I want to say thank you for watching. I hope y'all have a nice day. It's Willie the Captain, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.